Hello? 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 Yes. Good morning, everyone. There are modernized government schools, which is based on Gurukul education systems, where we're looking at integrating 4 schools basically together. We're catering to, yeah. Sorry, no, it's okay. It's okay. So the vision is to integrate Gurukul system into education and how to integrate 4 schools into one school, into integrated residential school campuses. And each of this is built on about 20 to 25 acres. The proposal is for currently to look at about 18 constituencies and go further into many other constituencies. The salient features of the project is that they are fully residential campuses for the students and staff. The state-of-the-art facilities for looking at the environment, and sustainable environments are the key points of how to look at it. We're looking at adopt innovative teaching and learning methods, creating identities for individual and the institution as a whole. Climatic response and planning of the buildings is an important part of our work. Built and unbuilt environment complement for naturally ventilated campuses. There's a use of natural light, natural material, natural resources in and around of the sites that we are looking at. And it's a totally pedestrian campus and complies with the differently abled people. The intention is to create a net zero campus where we look at the solar and wind energy to be harvested, rainwater harvesting along with water resources to be reading there, sir. This is the facilities that we're looking at. The classrooms and laboratories and various other facilities are there, along with large sports facilities. So the student strength would be about 2,560 per school and about 120 teachers with library and computer center and other facilities. And coming to the specific sites, because every site is unique and we're looking at Kodangal now. This is a Kodangal location, and we're looking at a small history of Kodangal. Important part of any building is how we respond to the climate, and the climate becomes a dictator for how do you look at buildings to behave. Like the way our body behaves, even buildings behave similarly. So it also requires shading, requires cool water, everything. So here the temperature data kind of tells us how different months will behave in different ways, and what is the precipitation level that happen during those times. So the amount of precipitation that happens because of the heat and the precipitation, there are different climate zones that are created in every zone, and every 300 kilometers the climate zone changes in our country. So it's a nice part to look at, and the wind becomes an important part of looking at how do you orient your buildings and how do you make it naturally ventilated. So because of all these factors, the comfort factor comes in from the humidity that is there, and how does humidity kind of give you discomfort is an important part of our building planning. And we have mapped for almost 25 years how the change in temperature data that's happening every year. So while we can see a significant drop in 2022 in Kodangal, but in some other sites it's going up there. This is called a sun path study diagram, where we map the sun for the entire year and how it behaves on the building. So that's the location of the site in terms of the elevation of the sites. There are 2 lakes across the sites. And we're looking at how the site sections work through this. And that's the overall site plan, which talks about the contours of the site. So the lowest being on the northeast and the highest being in center of the site. There's an existing building that's there. Yeah, so this is an existing building and some photographs of the site. So the current school is working in this middle photograph that you see. The same classroom is used for sleeping as well as for studying. So our basic master plan zoning is based on how do we look at creating environment that is interactive for students and they live as one. It is said that the quality of institutions talks about the future of the country, and how we plan them and how do we create memories for those students becomes important, not only in the learning environment but also in the living environment. So here we looked at the central axis to be created with the central axis that is created over there, and that's the open field that we're looking at as a cricket ground. Over there we have the educational academic part. Down we have another sports field. This side we have the hostel facilities on that side, and the existing building kind of is repurposed. So this is the master plan, where the master plan for the integrated residential campus addresses varied needs for relating to teaching, residing, playing, working, etc. by taking into consideration the climatic condition of the site, and the campus tries to bring together different communities under common umbrella of an integrated school, providing this community an access to quality education and state-of-the-art facilities. Yes, sir. So this is the planning which talks about how the behaviors will be of different people and how we can come about. That's the isometric view of the complex, how it would intend to be. Sorry? Yeah. So we have northeast we have a cricket ground, and in the south we have a cricket field with athletics track, and then we have multiple courts over there which are to do with volleyball, basketball, and Indian sports as well. So that's a cluster plan which we're talking about how the 4 integrated schools will come together. So that's the ground floor plan where we're looking at how each school gets its identity, at the same time gets integrated with the relationship between different buildings. And the whole orientation of the blocks and cluster is done in a courtyard plan, which allows for a traditional methods of building, where the wind flows through the building and keeps your spaces naturally ventilated. The proposal here is that we're not even talking about putting windows together in the classroom blocks, and there are shading devices which will naturally ventilate the building and keep it cool all the time. That's the first floor plan. That's the cluster block 1, block 2 plans. And this is details of the play fields, where we have the football field and the athletic tracks, the small amphitheater there. And that's the cricket field. And the hostels are thoughtfully designed with a low-rise structure. Each of them create their own identity. It's similar to our street network that we have in our cities. It creates memories of different places and how you find yourself combining with other people. Each dormitory is accommodating about 12 people with its toilet facilities attached to it close by. That's staff quarters. For all the staff is going to be on the campus, which means that there will be a lot more dedicated time given to the students and the faculty interactions. It takes time to go. So that's the view of the complex, the entry of view. This is the main entry to the admin block and the school. That's the view of the corridor where all the schools get connected. So the whole idea is the built and unbuilt come together, the landscape, the sun path, the environment around all come together to make a unique experience. And the courtyards play an important role where all the students can come together in the break times and other times where they have interacting with each other. So these are the memories that one can carry through their life. There are also amphitheaters in various areas which we have created using the natural contours, and they again become recreational spaces for people students spending their time there. That's a view of the hostel block. That's a view of the terracing that's done because of the contour. This is the existing building which we are repurposing. So we are reusing the building by removing some basic walls and adding a few infrastructure like staircase and lifts, and adding a dining, kitchen and a clinic facility, and also indoor sports. So the building has been now redesigned with a facade which is responsive to the climate. It is facing east-west, which gains a lot of heat gain. So we have changed the orientation and made the facade to look better. Sustainability of any building is important, and our net zero goals are how do you achieve them. And this is the basic behavior of the buildings when it comes to sun path and how we shade it. So this is the idea of how do you create naturally light ventilation, where we create a light shelf which bounces off the ceiling and gives you good quality of ambient light, and the outside is shaded by the jali and that. Terrace is used for solar panels and recreation spaces. So that's the light shelf, how it works. And every facade has a 2-3 layers of insulation in terms of screening devices, which controls its own microclimate, keeping it much cooler naturally. GRIA is the Indian certification for green building, and we're looking at achieving 5-star GRIA rating for this project. So it's walk the talk, that is. Not only just verified, and how landscape and trees and water resources can complement the entire development is the slides that we're showing you here. The use of local species of trees and plants is an important part of how the landscape can be looked at. Hello? Just play the third one, please. Okay. Lakshmipuram, you don't want to see? Okay, can you just play fourth file, please? Fourth file. Play, yeah, just walk through. Thank you.